All right, so we back in the studio. Man, it is good to be home. Some folks might know I was in San Juan for over this past weekend, a couple of days with my good friend Brandon. And on that trip, we had a quote that we came up with, which is, "Good friends create good friends." And oh my goodness, we couldn't have been more right, because I'm sitting across from a great guy, happens to be here in Orlando as well. We actually met while we were on that trip and just had such good conversations. You shared a ton of wisdom and game that you've got from being in the game, and all your times as an entrepreneur, all your time as an entrepreneur in real estate and various different sectors and businesses. So I'm really excited to have you here visiting for the very first time and being so willing to share some of that story that has brought us up to this point with everybody that it can impact and be beneficial to. So I'm here with my guy, Leon. Super pleased to have you here, man. And yeah, I'd love to kind of kick off by knowing a bit about you. Give us the one-liner, so to speak, about what you're doing now, where you are, and kind of what the next season is looking like for you. Where are we at? Where are we coming together at?
Absolutely. So first name, Pedro Alejandro Leon. I go by Leon or Leon, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur.
Amazing. How long have you been in the game?
I've been in the game for over 8 years.
Okay. Let's, I want to, just for the folks that might not know what that means, right? I can imagine someone hearing real estate entrepreneur and thinking like, oh, you build houses. Like, I don't know what that means. Give us the scoop there. What all is it that you do and that goes into what you do?
Let me go back to start with when this started. So I started with mortgages back in 2011, 2012. I was doing loan modifications. That's how I got involved in sales. I started as a telemarketer. I worked in Wall Street doing tax settlements. I did that for 2 years as well. So I was negotiating tax settlements in Wall Street. I did that, and I also got my real estate license in New York City. I'm from Ecuador, so I grew up in New York City. I moved here to the United States in August 5th of 1997 to Queens, New York. And but going back to answering your question, I got my real estate license. I did that, and then I was running a rental team. I would say New York City is the king of multifamily. So there's always people moving in, moving out, and there's a huge opportunity for everyone to make money on the rental game because you charge a broker fee. And sometimes you get paid by the landlord. So there's many ways to skin a cat in the rental game. So I was doing that. I was doing $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month doing that in my early 20s. I did that. I did very well. I built a team. I had other people working under me. I did that all the way until 2018. April 1st of 2018, I moved with one of my partners, who's my partner currently now. We actually moved together to Florida. We actually made the decision 2-3 weeks before doing so.
Oh, wow.
We already started looking into the real estate wholesaling business, which is basically real estate arbitrage, right? Which is basically what we were interested in. So that happened, and we made the move. I had my mother out here in living in Orlando already, which was a blessing, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into by moving from a city like New York and growing up in Queens and, getting used to the city life, and then just moving to Orlando where, people that are not from Orlando, they just think of Orlando, they think of Disney World. I mean, that's what they think, the parks. That's all you can do out here, which is completely not true, right? Yeah. There's just tons of opportunity, especially right now. And we moved. He drove, I drove, and we stayed at my mother's house. And we didn't, we were just so excited to get into the real estate game, the real estate wholesaling game. We did that. And within the first week, we actually started networking. We downloaded the Meetup app, and we started going to meetups and like talking to investors and wholesalers, and we were just like so excited to get involved. And we had like no money at all. Like we were down. We actually before coming, I hit rock bottom, and my partner's business was not doing good as well. So we just decided to move out here and start fresh. Nobody knows us out here. Let's start fresh. But one thing we had clear is that we were hustlers. If there's a saying that goes this way. It goes, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of true,
Yeah.
because New York City's like the jungle, and there's a lot that goes on. There's different nationalities. You got the Indians, you got the Russians, you got the Albanians, you got the Italians, you got, the Mexicans. You have everybody all together. Yeah. So you learn all the customs, all the cultures from all these different countries.
Yeah, and you got to make your lane, man.
You got to make your lane, and it's very diverse.
Yeah,
it's very diverse. But anyway, going back to answering the question, we did that, and it was very, very tough at the beginning. But one thing we knew is that our mindset was strong. We had a strong mindset. We've been in sales already. So we did that. We networked, and we landed a job, right? And the job was, we landed a job in downtown Orlando.
Nice.
And after doing a bunch of networking and meeting people and talking to people, so we landed a job at a private money lender.
Okay.
Out of downtown Orlando. I'm not going to mention their name, but we started working for them, and immediately we started bringing results to that specific private money lender. We started, getting loans. We started learning the private money loan game, right? So we were servicing landlords and flippers. Okay.
Got you. Wow. So, which puts you in proximity to the people that you wanted to know.
So the topic of wholesaling was involved because we were able to wholesale and we were able to learn a little bit more, but they were just doing loans for these investors.
Right.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And eventually my partner started his own wholesaling company. He left, he joined the mastermind, and then I stayed there. But going back to me, basically I stayed there, and I got this one guy, and this one guy that was doing like 15 to 20 flips a month. So I was like, wow, I landed well. So this guy, what if I can get this guy to get the loans from us so he can leverage and he can buy multiple properties at a time? And he's used to doing hard money and private money, right? Hard money loans are institutional, money from institutions. Private money is just your average guy, individual guys who have money who want a loan on terms. Which is very similar, but it's not the same. Some people confuse that, private money and hard money. It's two different things. Very similar, but two different things. But anyway, I started doing that. So I started doing more loans than everybody else in that office. And as I started doing more loans, my commission started to get smaller. And I felt like
your commission per loan,
my commissions per loan started getting, because everybody wanted to eat out of my clients.
So they were taking what would have been your commission and breaking it up.
Yeah, they wanted to feed everybody else.
Wow.
That didn't match my hustle.
That's crazy. Which
I felt that was unfair.
Yeah.
But it's okay. At the time I needed money, and I was struggling, so I needed the money, and I said, whatever. I'm willing to eat shit for a little bit, right? So I did that, and I was bringing numbers, and I was bringing more numbers than everybody that was there for, way before me. So, you just couldn't match my hustle.
Yeah.
I was coming in earlier and leaving later than everybody else. I was just out working everybody. And I'm used to that because I bring that from New York. That's very normal. In New York, people have 2-3 jobs. They're used to the hustle. They're used to the grind. So, over in 2018, it was like, people worked, but the hustle was not really there. They just wanted to come in a little later, take their time, start their day, and that didn't go with me. I realized at an early age that I wanted to be rich early. So I needed to do more than the average Joe in order for me to position myself to get there. So that was just a hustle. I did that, and eventually this guy that I was doing loans for, he took a liking of me.
That whale
took a liking of me. I just didn't know him on a personal level, right?
But so he was watching
you. He was watching me. He was like, dude, come work for me.
Wow.
Come work for me. So he did that, and he offered me a job, and
within his flip operation.
Within his flipping operation.
Wow.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of flips.
Wow.
But he was using a lot of other people's money
Right.
and other people's time. So OPT and OPM.
Mm-hmm.
So he was using both. And he had an interesting operation out of South Florida. But this is where it gets very interesting, okay? Because I didn't really know much about this guy, okay? I didn't know much about this guy. All I knew is that he was doing, he moved and he was a hustler too. And he's also from New York.
Oh, nice.
And he was just a hustler. And he knew the real estate game, right? He just had so many connections. He had a lot of people. He made a lot of money. And he treated me well. Very nice guy at the beginning. And then that happened. I visited him in South Florida. I never moved to South Florida, which they suggested I move down there, but I just didn't want to move there because I also had met a girl, right? So I met somebody, and we were dating already, and she was based out of Tampa, which is now currently my baby mother, right? So I was already involved with her, and she was helping me out at the beginning. She was with me. Didn't have a kid yet. That came after. But going back to the story, this guy wanted me to do events for him. And the events were raising capital events. So the way I found him is through a bandit sign, by the way. I missed that. So the way I was getting loans for these investors, I was making the owner of the private money lending company invest in bandit signs.
Wow.
So that we can go and put them out.
They weren't doing that before.
They knew about it. That's an old school strategy in real estate to generate inbound leads. But they weren't doing it like us.
Wow.
Like we were out at 12 o'clock, from 1 a.m. to like 3, 4 a.m. putting out bandit signs all over South Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, you name it. We put them out everywhere. Literally, we put hundreds and hundreds of bandit signs, right? I have a bunch of videos of me doing that.
Wow.
Because we filmed ourselves doing it.
We got to pull one of these videos.
Yeah. So we did that, and that was interesting. And then the next day, when I was at the office, our phones just are ringing like no tomorrow, and it's crazy. It's crazy. People are like, "Hey, I'm interested in the bandit sign I just saw. It says that you do private money loans for investors." I'm like, "Yeah. What are your rates and terms?" So basically, we would give them that.
Wow.
Compared to other guys, the rates and terms were a little higher than usual because they were very conservative, right? But you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we were still giving out loans, which was great. But that's how I found the guy. Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
So basically, I started doing that. That's how I found them, and I did that for him. So I started putting out bandit signs and saying, "Hey, we are looking for investors to invest with us." So I started putting bandit signs and raising capital.
And then he wanted you to continue doing that at the event level.
Yes.
Wow.
So not only did he want me to do that, I got the venues.
Oh, wow.
I found the venues. I got the venues. I brought the investors. I did the whole thing. I would just position him to come in and speak.
Wow.
However, I didn't really know the mechanics and the dynamics behind it, like how he really did things, because he didn't really want to teach me that when I asked him the questions. So I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. It's cool. He had me on a small little salary, and he offered me commissions if the investors invest. Long story short, I had one of my investors from New York. I told him all about it, and the guy tells me, hey, we get to he's interested. I got him on the phone with him. He liked the guy. He actually flew out here to meet the guy in person. Very cool. But one day, he calls me, and he's like, Leon, I'm like, can I speak to you? I'm like, yeah, of course. What's going on? Like, look, I'm about to wire $200,000 to this guy. Can I trust this guy? I'm like, that was going to be my first client. And I said, and then I had a whole bunch of investors interested in giving this guy the money so that he can go and use their money to buy more flips, right? Because he had access to the banks. He was getting the deals from the banks.
Oh, so he's getting a great deal with the banks, and then
Yeah,
he's
he already
had
had connections in the banks
That makes sense.
to get the deals.
That makes sense.
Right? And that's that. But anyway, everything seemed good until my boy calls me, right? And there's another story with my boy in New York. This guy used to own the Tropicana juice routes.
Oh wow!
In New York, and he was an entrepreneur. He was in the supermarket game. He had investments in supermarkets and stuff like that.
Wow!
So good guy, very good guy. And anyway, he calls me. He's like, "Should I trust him? Can I trust this guy?" And I said, "Yeah. Why wouldn't you trust him, right?" So he sends me a text message, and the text message comes in, pops into my phone, and says that the guy I was working with was wanted. He was on the Fed list. I was like, holy crap, what the hell?
No way.
Yeah, because so many emotions happened to me when he sent that to me. And I said, do not send them any money. Do not send them any money. You know what I mean? But watch this. So he tells me, you know, the guy is a street guy too. Like he's a good entrepreneur, but he was in the streets before.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
Yeah,
he's not. He's not a
no
moron.
Dummy. Yeah.
So he sends it to me, and I tell him, don't do it, bro. I was gonna make a nice commission because he promised me some commissions and stuff like that. Never collected, by the way. Never collected any commissions from him.
Wow.
Because I was never gonna put my integrity over. I was not going to sell my soul, basically. You know what I mean?
For some money.
For some money.
Yeah.
So I told my boy, don't do it.
Wow.
However, all that time and energy that I went through, that I invested in helping him, he was just grabbing all the investors and stealing them from me. That's what at that moment, I realized his agenda.
That was when you saw it click.
It snapped.
Wow.
So then, dude, I start going at it on the phone with him. I start pressing him on it. And I said, dude, you can't, you know, what are you trying to play? So anyway, he got nervous and he was like, come, like, let's meet in Florida. And then he tried to make it up to me, try to sell me on the fact that he's not that he's just been accused of things like that. So anyway, the guy moving forward, I don't know how the guy does it. He's still out and he's still doing business.
Active. Wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I completely disassociated from him. But the guy owed me money and owed me, you know, commissions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day,
give me because I want to dive into this just because that integrity piece is something that's so lost now. Yeah. And so I want for people to be able to understand the reality of what we're talking about here. Yeah. What it could be a range, or if you could go specific, like what kind of money did this man owe you that you chose your integrity over? Well, you're talking about at least 20, 30 investors who were interested in investing. After doing 2-3 events. Right. All of whom you were supposed to get a commission off. Yes. Yeah. So what I did is I never collected a commission from any of them. From that point on, that's when I decided to, literally at my lowest point, I was living in a Popka at the time, right? And I didn't have a lot of money. I was struggling. It was rough. I was excited for what all these commissions that were going to come my way. Yeah. So that's why I never really celebrate a real estate deal until the check clears. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's just a perfect example of that. You know, I never celebrate too early because deals could fall. But I put my integrity over that. You know what I mean? I basically, did I say that right? I put my integrity over that, over selling my soul, basically, right? Because if I didn't give a fuck, I was just gonna say, you know what, I don't care. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna still get my piece. I'm gonna still get my piece. So it didn't go that way. Yeah, that's when I literally said, I'm parting ways from you. You're an asshole. You're a fraud. I don't want to do business with you, and I don't want my name tied up to you. So I separated from him. Yeah, right, and. Everybody that he did business with, like, he literally ended up fighting with everybody. Yeah. And he owed people a lot of money and stuff like that. And the guy's probably still out. But anyway, I realized in this space, you're going to have good guys and bad guys. And you in everything in life is either a blessing or a lesson. So it was just a lot of lessons during those times. Also, I tell you that
my girl was also pregnant.
During this time. So while she was pregnant, you walked away from this situation.
She was pregnant.
Wow.
She was pregnant. We had a baby on the way. I was struggling financially, and I never complained. I never wanted people to feel bad for me. One thing I learned as a man, you got to solve problems.
Yeah.
You understand?
Brandon and I was saying that the whole trip. We said, nunca tenemos problemas, solamente soluciones.
That's it.
We never have problems, only solutions.
Yes, there's only solutions. Mm-hmm. So I was, I did, you can't even imagine the things I did to just survive.
Yeah.
But I did them.
Yeah.
And it got me out of really bad situations because now not only I had a girl who had moved in with me, but I also had a baby on the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was pregnant. I had to take care of her. So that happened. And we separated from this individual, right? She was, she was with me at the time, and she was my support at the time. Things were good, We recently met, and then after we met, she got pregnant. So it was basically, it happened fast.
Yeah,
it happened fast.
quick.
I just moved to Orlando, met this girl, and, we met out of Instagram, and we started dating, and then now she's pregnant. Now we're moving. We moved in together, and we thought things were going to be beautiful, and then that happened with that guy.
What was the time span between like when you met and when you all moved in together? Just for the,
I want to say, since we met and moved in together, probably like 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8. Okay, that makes sense.
After
that is quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super, and then it happened all super fast, and it was amazing. I really loved her. I was in love with her, and obviously we had a baby on the way, so it was amazing. But anyway, that's what happened, and after that, guess what happened? The pandemic came.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so it goes from worse to worse.
Yeah.
But sometimes God puts these challenges in front of its biggest warriors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've been through so many things at the time, and no one to really help me out.
Yeah.
Like, it was just me.
It was
just me making it happen.
Putting that shit on your back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I made it happen, So guess what? I started wholesaling. I did like 1 or 2 deals. I did my first deal. I made $18,000 on my first deal.
Wow.
So that was a come up.
Wow.
That was a come up. It was good. And that happened. And then the pandemic happened. Right? I'm starting my own company.
Yeah.
The pandemic happened. And guess what happened? Shut down.
Dry. Nada. Yeah.
Down. But guess what happened? My girl at the time, we found out about a company called Manat.
Oh, yeah.
Manat Global.
The hair company.
Yeah, it was a network marketing company. But it was mainly dominated by females. So I started teaching my girl sales. So we got involved in that in that space. And then we build an army of girls.
Did you start teaching her sales because you saw that?
That was our only way out.
Wow.
To make income.
Wow.
During the pandemic.
Yeah.
During the boom of Zoom.
Yeah.
Right? So that happens. Not only is she pregnant, I said, baby, this is how we're going to make it out.
Wow.
So we did that. So I'm teaching her, say this. This is how you put the girls on the Zoom call with me. We're going to start growing. So we started going up the ranks.
Wow.
Right? So we paid our bills with Manat Global.
Wow.
So we did that. So it got us to become even stronger. And baby on the way.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is something that there are 2 things here that I have seen in the stories of everybody that I sit across and do a pod with or whatever that has been successful at whatever they do. And you embody both of them. The first is, I can tell that you have this mindset that is that, like, I'm not too good for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a lane for me and this is what it's going to take, like, I will do it. I'll take the job. I'll build the team. Like, I will make it happen. And the second is your willingness to pivot. A lot of people start building their identity around, oh, I'm in this industry. Oh, I'm the fill in the blank guy. And no, I'd never do that. But you don't have that, right? You are willing and able to pivot into what you need to do to make things happen. Where do you feel like you get that from? Is that like a conscious awareness that you have and like, oh, sometimes it sucks, but I just have to push through it? Or is that just part of your makeup? Like you don't even think about it. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which of those do you feel like you fall into? Because I feel like a lot of people don't have that. And it's one of those like soft skills or character traits that you can't teach. You know, it's like you either have it or you don't. And I want people to see, you know, from behind the curtain, what that experience moving that way looks like for you.
I think it's genetic.
Mm-hmm.
My father's a winner. So
really?
Yeah.
I don't say that because I'm surprised to hear your father's a winner, but I don't hear many people say that they feel it's genetic. I don't hear that much.
Yes, it's genetic because that's what happened. I'm not going to go into his story, but, you know, at the time that this was happening, I was not really too close to mom and dad because I was more focused on my girl, my baby that's on the way.
You're starting
and
a new family.
Not complaining and not going to them because at the time I felt that was weakness.
Yeah.
Which now that I'm a little bit more mature, I realize that is not weakness. It's okay to say help me when you need help. But at the time, he did the same. Basically, his story is very similar, right? He made it happen from the ground up. So my father's a hustler. You know, he's actually a plastic surgeon for dogs in New York.
Oh wow!
So and he started sweeping floors.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna get into that right now. That's
But
another story.
Yeah.
But
it's a
what I
pattern.
can tell you is genetic.
Yeah.
100%. And he's a winner. I saw him win. I saw him overcome obstacles, and he never complained.
So do you think then that there is potential for somebody that doesn't come from a lineage of winning to find themselves in that mindset, embodying that character trait? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So it starts with mindset, right? One thing I learned is that the mindset comes first.
Before anything.
Okay. You have to see it in your head so you can hold it in your hand. It's like it's already done. You know, it's going to happen. You don't say, hey, I hope I'm rich one day. You say, I'm going to be rich one day. I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. Right? That's basically mindset. You already know you can have it. You're just not there yet. It's on the other side.
It's like time is catching up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Work for it.
Yeah.
Work. Hard work. I believe in hard work and dedication and no excuses. Right? And I don't expect everybody to be like that. But I believe that if I want something, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get it no matter what.
What would you say?
I'm wired that way.
What would you say to the person that hears that and says, that sounds like being delusional?
Show me your accomplishments.
That part. Because there's a lot of that online where people tear that perspective down and, oh, you know, be realistic, like, no, whatever. Because people are very cynical, right? And so that is probably the best answer to that question I've ever gotten, because
it's amazing.
It's people need, like, you got to look at the stats. We got to look at the stats for real. We could sit here and talk about it energetically, however we feel about it all day, but let's look at the stats.
Right.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
I obviously, and you know this, like, this is one of many, but I want to be cognizant of time, and there's so much story to like dig into, and we're gonna go all over with it. I'm curious to know, like, in a parting message for somebody that is, I think people hear a lot of talk about real estate, right? And a lot of conflicting opinions or perspectives about real estate. Real estate is not a poor man's game. Real estate is the way to wealth. Real estate is the game of the wealth. Like, there's so many different conflicting perspectives about it. What would you say to somebody that has no experience in real estate? Maybe they are successful in other industries, whatever that is, about the opportunity for them in real estate. Is it there? Is it hard? Is it something they should be making or having a certain amount of money before they explore. What is your read on that for them as they consider what the next seasons of their lives look like?
So number one, I would say be curious, ask questions, and do your own research. See if you resonate with the lifestyle the industry brings, and go all in. Not halfway, one leg in, one leg out. It's not going to happen. Choose an industry. Choose what part of the industry you want to join. Whether you want to be a lender, you can do that, right? It's a lie that you need to buy one single family home and then buy a duplex and then a quadplex and then a 10plex. You don't need to do that. You can go straight into luxury real estate, or you can go straight into multifamily big apartment complex syndication. You can go straight into wholesaling. Wholesaling real estate is not real estate investing. It's a sales and marketing business. That's what most people don't understand. To me, real estate investing is holding real estate. It's a completely different game.
Exposed to the appreciation of the asset.
The beautiful thing about being a real estate wholesaler and virtual wholesaler, to be more specific, because that's what I am, is that we understand negotiation at a very high level. Okay? We get the deals at a much better price than investors because we master the art of sales and marketing. And we understand what these sellers' pain points are, what their needs and wants are, and we really focus on the why are you even selling. And then we do that to pick up properties and put them under contract at 20, 30, 40 cents on the dollar and sell them off to investors at 50, 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar. And there's many different ways to skin a cat. There's many different exits, right? You can do seller finance. You can do subject to. You can do short sales. You can do loans. You can do wholesaling. You can do reverse wholesaling. You can do wholesaling. You can do novations. You can do partnerships with these sellers. It's a beautiful business. Once you have the right systems, processes, and people and leadership in place, you can make millions of dollars. Right now, we're at a point where we're doing multiple six figures a month, right? But ask me, how much time am I invested into the business right now? I'm probably putting, of true hard work and dedication into this business, I'm probably putting about 1 to 2 hours a day, right? I do not want to be in an office stuck where, that's just old world, right? I want to be anywhere in the world, and my success had a lot to do with the people I choose to join my organization. And all I do is hire people that are smarter than I am, put them in a room, and make sure that they can work together and fire myself and command. You got to be a leader, but you also have to be a boss, right? It's good leaders, but sometimes some leaders are weak. You understand? You need a stronger individual. Sometimes your employees need a person with thick skin to strain them up. And sometimes that helps them get to the next level.
Yeah. And they might not love the way it feels, but the results are undeniable.
Yes, and it's something that brings up another question. Say, do you rather be loved or feared?
Is it better to be loved or feared? Yeah.
Exactly. So I won't answer that right now, but what I can tell you is that you want to be both when running a company, right? Because people will waste your time. And that's something I'll stick to, and that's it.
Yeah. Man, I so appreciate you. You're so open. You're so willing to share. I can feel how badly you want all of the winners to win, and you want to give them all of the tools, the knowledge, the insights that you have that can help them do that. That radiates, that feels through, and I know that it does for everyone on the other side of the screen as well. So I'm excited to continue tapping that keg and keep giving out that game, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you for having me, brother.
Let's get it.